Welcome to HB Tuners for Gen 2 Coyote Training Part 34. This training module we're going to be exploring working with our spark timing and the basics that we need to know in order to understand how spark timing functions within our auto cycle for our combustion engine. So this is going to be allowing us to lead into future training modules looking at our spark timing, a little bit more advanced techniques, understanding how the spark timing logic works within the forward programming, and then ultimately understanding how we need to go in and dial in our spark timing to get the results that we're after and do it in a safe manner. So we have a lot to cover here in this basics tutorial. Let's jump in so we can check this out. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at the basics of spark timing for our Gen 2 Ford Coyote applications. Now this tutorial is going to be serving more as a fundamental concept type of tutorial in terms of our spark timing values that we're going to be commanding. Now we're going to go through in the next few tutorials looking at and dissecting the spark timing tables and the forward programming logic for spark timing, and then being able to actually do a demonstration of tuning spark timing on a Gen 2 Coyote application. But this tutorial is going to serve as the introduction into those videos. We have to have a background in understanding spark timing because it is a confusing topic. A lot of people, especially novice tuners, don't understand what's going on in terms of the value that we command in our spark timing tables. So we're going to break that down. We're going to use a nice graphical aid in this tutorial of understanding the auto cycle and specifically with spark timing and how that all fits in terms of the values that we program and we're commanding in our tables. So let's jump in here. Let's open up a calibration file to begin this tutorial so we can reference where we can find our spark timing tables at. If we go up here to File, Open, and we go to Desktop, and we go here, the HB Tuners Gen 2 Coyote folder, that's our main course folder. We're going to jump in here to our Mustang example files subfolder. Now in here, we find the various years that we can choose. Any of the files here will work for referencing and following along with the tutorial. You can even open up and use your existing calibration file if you've read that out of your engine control module at this point, which you probably already have. Let me go in here to a 2017 folder. Again, doesn't matter which one we choose. I'm going to grab a 2017 Mustang GT and click Open here. Now that the file is open, we're going to move into our Engine tab right here. And we're going to go from our General tab all the way over here into our Spark Timing tab. Now in here we find they have the Advanced section, and that's all we really need to reference at this point for this tutorial. We're going to break down how all this fits together in future training modules, but for right now we need to understand the fundamentals of the actual spark timing value that we're commanding from something like our borderline tables. Now just very briefly here, we have a couple different modes the spark timing can be called on, or our spark sources can show. We have a borderline, we have a maximum brake torque, we have a pre-ignition, we have cylinder pressure, we also have emissions reduction. That's used for cold start, warm up, getting the cats to light off and fire off, as well as trying to drive off idle on a cold engine. So different modes that we can find. Our spark source, which is a source, we talked about our sources, can be called on to reference where the spark timing is coming from. But what we need to take away at this point in time is just opening it up and taking a look at something like our borderline tables, which is what we call on and run for spark timing in terms of what we're referencing our spark timing at. The spark source or the mode that we're operating in would be borderline, generally speaking, for part throttle and wide open throttle conditions. Just very quickly here, we have all these different map points that we can call on. Recall in our VCT scheduling tutorials, our map points are related to our VCT scheduling. So which specific VCT scheduling mode we're in, optimal stability, fuel economy, best drivability, optimal power. We call on various cam pairings, which then references particular map points. The spark timing will be referencing to those map points, which is essentially related to the overlap that we have from our cam positions that we're calling on. So at any given time, we can shift through any of these different map points, but borderline is what we generally want to find ourselves on. Now let's open up a borderline table so we can just talk about this and take a look. I'm going to open up our map point 5 here just for reference sake. Now looking at this particular table, actually this is probably not the best example here. Let's look at something like our map point 2. This looks a little bit better here. Map point 2. So this would be whatever associated the cam pairing is calling on map point 2. But looking at the values in the table, let's dissect what this is actually going to mean, because the values may be really confusing if you're not used to looking at a spark timing table. The values here in the table are based on looking up the load indexing, which is a function of the airflow coming in from our mass airflow or speed density, depending on what exact mode we're operating in. What we're calling on are Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.